It all started with a link. I would meet a stranger, riddled by the past and his frankly weird story. And finally a quest, more precisely, an anime quest. But what happened and how did I solve it? This link took me to a Discord where I would engage in a conversation with this stranger who quickly exposed his story to me. And in his words, he told me how there had been an anime so bad that it made him destroy his computer. And he sent me on a quest to find an anime which, you guessed it, wouldn't make him break his computer. And although at first this may seem like a simple task, I couldn't have been farther from the truth. And that's because there was a weeb's life on the line here, and I couldn't allow myself to fail. But to fully understand this quest, we have to go back, way back, to where anime first began. The roots of anime stretch back to 20th century Japan. In 1917, a short anime film called Hamakura Gatana was recorded. Through the 1930s and 40s, the animation developed slowly, mostly limited to short films. But in recent years, anime has entered a new era. Streaming platforms like Netflix have made anime globally accessible, bringing anime to the mainstream. To solve this quest, I went to the good old AnyChart. And to my surprise, guess what? I found nothing. But we're not just gonna give up because of that. Because I was overlooking something. The question, why? Just like a toddler, I started asking questions. Why would he break his computer? And most importantly, why do we watch anime in the first place? And although I haven't touched grass in about 13 years, I had to do this for what was gonna come. So after a long time of consideration, I decided to go back and try AnyChart again. And after endlessly losing my mind trying to find something suitable, I found this viral hit. Now, if you're expecting something on the levels of peak One Piece or Hunter x Hunter, then you're in for a disappointment. But this, my friend, this is a gem in the rough. My goal is to find an anime which wouldn't make a weeb break his computer, and I think this just might do the trick. Viral Hit is based on a manhwa, which are South Korean graphic novels. There's recently been many of these manhwa adapted into anime, like everyone's favorite Solo Leveling. The story of Viral Hit is about Haben, a brokey student that takes care of his sick mom. But this isn't everything because he's also bullied by his classmates in a way that you've probably never seen before. You know, recently there's been all this crap talk about alphas and betas and all of that. And although I honestly don't believe in any of these things, Haben fits perfectly into the supposed beta category, like the missing piece of a puzzle. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a sad story either. Matter of fact, a lot of the moments in this show had me just flat out laughing like crazy, like laughing like a madman, laughing like... From day one, we find out Haben is at the complete bottom of the school hierarchy. This man is down bad, and I mean down bad. Now, in this world, instead of magic and powers, there's NewTube. You see, instead of Nen, there's NewTube in this world. Now, somehow, during his classmate's stream, which you know, is kind of weird because they're in school, Haben learns how much money could be actually made off of streaming and starts thinking of creating his own channel. Now, you gotta remember, this guy is a hard-working guy, and he needs money to take care of his sick mom. But at this point, everything starts getting a little bit out of hand. Haben gets coerced by another one of his classmates to do a stream in his house. But while cooking for this guy, finally Haben reaches his breaking point and decides to fight him. But this is all being uploaded without him knowing, because while they were fighting, the stream was actually still on, and he becomes viral overnight. Unlike most of us, Haben has no care for embarrassment, and I mean zero care for embarrassment. As ironic as it sounds, the extreme bullying he's went through has made him embarrassment proof. So although there is a video of him fighting a random guy like a stick figure, he could care less. And although I enjoy spoiling stories, I think I'm gonna leave it here for now. And let's get back to the mission. So after watching Viral Hit, I decided to go to everyone's favorite place for research and factual information, Reddit. And after another 5 minutes of intense research on Reddit, I decided to use this anime for my mission. See, but back to the initial question, why do we watch anime in the first place? And by extension, why should this unnamed stranger? And by answering this question, I will get an edge on achieving my mission. So, I propose a thesis, which is something that has fascinated me for a while. When we take away all the visuals and the animation and the music, what remains is a story, a series of events where characters face challenges, they make choices, and they transform. This is why it resonates. We're wired to respond to stories. From childhood, we learn about the world through stories. They show us how to deal with conflict. So, why do some stories get glued onto our minds? Let's try to break it down into two major points. The first is that these stories present a problem that we can identify with. And the second is that this same problem strings on one of our primary emotions like fear, happiness, joy, and bravery. Think of an anime that you've watched that's really hit home. I like to think about Berserk and One Piece. One, in a way, triggers our desire for revenge and it's melancholic and sad. And the other triggers our desire for freedom and joy. There is a concept that stories, myths, and even our dreams can carry universal patterns or archetypes. These are recurring roles and scenarios that pop up across cultures and time, like the hero, the mentor, the trickster, and the villain. And anime is full of these figures. And when we see these patterns, our brain recognizes them and responds with fascination. It almost feels familiar at a deeper level, like we already know this story. It's the reason an anime that has close to zero ties to reality can hit home and seem so realistic. When you watch a character fight through fear or grief and emerge stronger on the other side, it's not just entertaining, it's inspiring. It reminds us of our own strength. We see a piece of our own potential in their journey. And this is where Viral Hit shines and why it's a gem in the rough. The main character, Haben, has been bullied for a long time. He is exhausted having to deal with the horrible things that happen to him on a daily basis. In school, he has no friends and people always look down on him. And most of all, he is scared all the time. Imagine waking up every day to go to school or work and being horrified on what could happen because there's a high chance you will be insulted or even threatened. And this is the place where we meet Haben, the main character of Viral Hit, a dark place, and where we make a connection to his fear. Now, thankfully, not everyone experiences bullying, but everyone does experience fear and that dark place in different points in their life. So later on, when Haben finally decides to fight back, that simple action makes us root for him and make a connection through his bravery. So all that's left now is relaying my findings to the unnamed stranger.